Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name's Crystal and I'm joined by my daughter
Sienna.
And today is day 5 of Vlogmas, but I'm filming it a day before, so it's Sunday for us today. And yeah, let's begin with the advent calendars.
Let's do what's this? Wait, Fabric Godmother.
Fabric Godmother one first, and we are doing day 5. It's the one at the bottom, and let's read the note inside. What does it say? Go on.
What's that?
Yeah.
Polyester. Polyester thread will melt, so turn the heat down on your iron.
Oh, so there's always a little tip in there. So yeah, polyester thread will melt, so turn the heat down on your iron, and we are going to try and guess what's in here. Soft. I'm gonna have a guess.
Actually, can't go down. It feels like it's in a wrapper, but I don't know.
So polyester heat will so turn down on your. I think
polyester.
Polyester is a type of fabric. So you've got cotton, polyester, silk. So I'm thinking it's an ironing. You know, you get like
an iron,
like a special piece of fabric to iron on top of clothes, so that you don't burn the clothes, or even not burn. You know, sometimes you get like a shiny iron mark on certain garments, like chino trousers. I know from my husband's ready-to-wear trousers, where I've ironed it when it's too hot, you kind of get like a shiny burn mark on it. So I'm thinking it's very soft. So that's what I think it is. Let's see what it is.
I need to know.
Ooh.
Oh. The labels.
It's labels. More labels. So little packet there.
Make a party, it says in gold.
I'm going to be all labelled out at the end of this. I was already all labelled out before I started. Oh, it's their own Fabric Godmother labels. Did anybody know they did their own labels? So it says made to party. So black background, really gold sparkly writing, made to party. And on the back they have the Fabric Godmother logo, and it's quite nice thick quality, really actually, and they're quite large. So that's from Fabric Godmother. Thank you very much. Next, because we can do the thing, aren't we, afterwards. Next, Advent Calendar, Kylie and the Machines. And remember, this time round, we are going down 24 to 1 countdown. So today would be 20. Did we do 21 last time?
What you do? You're starting again backwards?
Yeah, because we were supposed to start. So one of my viewers told me that it actually says start here at number 24. I totally missed that. So we started off at, so we're going down to 20, number 20, day 20. Day 20 is up here, little iron.
So you started on 21 again? Why did
so we did 1, 2 and 3, which was 24, 23, 22. No, because we'll do that when we get to the end now. Fine. Right, 20.
Which is an iron. That door? Yeah, opens that way, no wonder.
Oh, long ones. Rectangular ones.
It's kind of like
horizontal ones. Lovely. What does it say on it? I can't read it.
Made with love and coffee.
That works for me as well. I'm very happy with that. So it's like a blush pink background with brown cursive writing that says made with love and coffee, which works for me.
Kylie and the Machines written there.
Is it Kylie and the Machines on the side? Wow. Oh yeah, it's got their little logo there, Kylie Machines, on one of the flaps there. So you get 2 of those. Lovely, thank you very much. So 2 labels from 2 boxes today. And then the third advent calendar we're going to open is from Beyond the Pink Door. Box number 4. Is it 5? Yeah.
Hi.
Oh no, we're guessing. Oh, I know what it is. I know it's definitely. I know it's. What do you think it is? I know what it is.
Some sort of ring thing.
Ring thing. Yeah. What do you think goes round?
Oh, is it like the pinhole?
Yeah, I think it's a pinhole. I think it's a circle.
No,
pins.
you can already see it through. I think.
Hey, come on then, open it. Yay! Oh, nice colours. So a lovely circular ring of pins, but the colours on these pins are actually colours I've not seen before. So they're pearlized, white, and they're lovely, like bluey grey. It's like a pearly colour, bluey grey, then kind of like a browny, goldy browns, and all the goldy browns, sort of baby pink, yellowies, and they're really, really lovely. Where is this from? It says, oh yeah, pony pearlized head pins. Which are very good. So This is the second set of pins I've received in the boxes. So the first set was a pair of vintage, I don't know what the label ones, from Fabric Godmother. And then I've got another set from Beyond the Pink Door. I actually prefer these because I prefer pins with bigger tops, and they are longer. I know the previous pins I got were sort of up to here and they just had a tiny little silver head, which I'm not keen on, but obviously it's in my haberdashery stash and it may come in useful at some point. So thank you very much. Okay, let's grade them. What did I say?
Definitely this first.
Hey, hang on a second.
Hey, hang on a second. That's for me. I don't really like this one best.
I think I might have to agree with you. So first place, Beyond the Pink Door with these pins because they're useful. I've not seen this colorway before in terms of the pearlized head, so very happy with those. Second place, I'm going to say Fabric Godmothers Made to Party. I don't know, I think the quality, they're slightly thicker in quality. I'm not sure if I'm overthinking things, thicker, aren't they? Yeah. I mean, even if it's folded over, I mean, yeah, they're slightly thicker in quality. Lovely bright lettering there. So that's my second place. And third place for me is Kylie and the Machines. Right, so like Sienna in my Kylie and the Machines tin is going in my Kylie the Machines label tin. Let's see what's in here already. Quite a few labels already in there. So that's going to add to my collection. And then Sienna, my darling helper, can that go in my haberdashery somewhere? No, not in your room. What are you going to do with them in your room?
Well, I can take them down and then I can use them when I sew my stuff. I use your one.
Right, okay, put it away, please.
Where's the haberdashery thing?
Up there with all my pegboard and my IKEA pegboard thing. Lovely, thank you so much, Sienna. Are you going to stay?
Yes.
Do you want to stay on camera?
Yes.
You sure?
Why not?
Okay, because I'm just going to talk for a bit. It might be a bit boring for you.
Okay.
Okay. So sewing wise news is I have finished Talia's Tilly and the Buttons Lyra dress, and I'll pop up some photos of her wearing it today. I just finished it with some dark green flat pearlized shank buttons, which I actually sewed on at around 10:30 last night while it's in bed, because I totally forgot she wanted to wear it today. So today, as I say, Sunday, I'm recording this the day before the Monday, and we went to Sunday Mass this morning, and so she wanted to wear it to Sunday Mass, which is really lovely when you make a dress and they're excited to wear it. It just kind of, I don't know. I mean, I obviously enjoy sewing, and I enjoy sewing for my daughters because they're my daughters and I love them. But also where I've been sewing now for probably about 4 or 5 years now, maybe a bit longer. No, for myself, maybe about 3 years for myself. I have so many clothes, like so many clothes. I could possibly wear a dress every day. I could do Me Made May if I wanted to, but I don't really. Most of my dresses are quite, not dressy, but they wouldn't be like casual sort of home dresses. It would be like going out to like a barbecue type, you know, or party dresses. So anyway, I have so many dresses, and I think it's nice to give back to my children because I do spend a lot of time away from them when I'm sewing, and I think it's nice to be able to give back to the children. And also they like to wear these dresses, which is even better, especially when I finished Talia's dress yesterday. She really wanted to wear it today, as I say, so I quickly had to sew on buttons. To be fair, I could have asked her to sew on the buttons, but I just wanted to have it finished for her and just to say, Talia, here's a lovely dress for you. So she wore that today. I would say the waist is quite big, and so the ties do, so I suppose when you tie the tie up, there's probably a good maybe 3 to 4 inches at the back of extra fabric. But I think the reason why it's looser at the waist is because you have to get it over your head, even with the button placket. I think because she's quite wide shouldered and she's quite big, she's bigger chested than myself, I think it would be a struggle for her to get in if the waist was a bit narrower than it is. But the waist ties do bring it in a lot, so I think it's kind of a nice compromise between the ease of getting it on and the fittedness of the waist, which you can adjust now with a tie. So that's that. I haven't managed to cut out the Tabitha drawstring dress for my daughter as yet. I don't know if I have the fabric here. I don't know where the fabric went. but I will hopefully cut that out tonight, and I possibly might be able to share some of the progress, if not the whole thing, because a Tabitha drawstring dress, I suppose from start to finish, it probably would take me about 4 hours. And because I've made it so many times before, most of it is done on my overlocker, apart from attaching the t-shirt to the dress, to the skirt, and then folding up the seam allowance and creating the channel. That's done on my sewing machine. And yeah, so that's it sewing wise. With regards to, I was actually going to try and attempt to video this vlog in a different part of the house, because I know some of you are interested in seeing sneak peeks of the house, and I did try, but it was just too noisy, and also to get the camera and the video, you know, the light thing that I had in all the advent calendar boxes, it was just a bit too much. So I thought I might just slip in a little clip of where I was going to sit. This is sort of, you know, I don't know if you have it in your house, like the place where you always sit despite all the other chairs or sofas in the house. I always tend to sit on the same sofa, on the same area of that sofa. So I'll just pop in a little clip here. If I put my finger here, I'll know where to pop it in when I do the editing. So this is normally where I sit down over here. My little area there. Sorry, it's a bit of a mess there. Front garden. And I normally sit down here. Another sofa on the other end. Hi, kids. Hi. So how are you? Good, thank you. They're just good, thank you. Fireplace, kitchen, counter. Kitchen's in the middle there. Dining table is right at the back there, and it just goes round. And that's the staircase going up. So basically, this is our kitchen, which is right at the end there. You can't see my finger. Right, sorry, dining table right at the back there with patio doors. Kitchen's in this middle bit here that extends with a counter, and this is sort of a living area. So this is our main area that we spend our time in. Through lounge, kitchen, diner, as it were. So that's the front garden, as I was saying. Front garden. And then you can just see the garden's a bit of a mess. We have basically a side garden rather than a back garden. Trampoline, sort of climbing frame there. And the property ends where those trees are, I suppose. And the garden wraps all the way around the property. And so basically, do I cut it then? So I cut it, right? And so basically that's the main room in the house. So that is the main length of the house, the front window all the way up to the back patio doors, the main length of the house. And then we have a side garden, as I say, a small sort of front garden, a small back garden, and kind of a medium-ish other right garden. And the garden goes all the way around the property. Anyhow, so that's the main area that I go to sit, and the children work at the kitchen counter there. My eldest daughter works in her room, so she has her own room. She works in her room. My son also works in his room, apart from when he needs to use the computer. So he works on the counter for his if it's computer work. And sometimes I think his maths course, for example, is online. It's online live lessons once a week, so he has to do that on the computer in the kitchen. And what we've decided as a family is that the children devices, so sort of phones and laptops and computers, have to be used in communal areas, so to avoid the temptation of looking at inappropriate material on the internet, or inappropriate movies or YouTube clips or what have you, because there's so much danger out there on the internet. And it's kind of, sometimes you don't mean to, you know, you could search something in Google that could, you know, churn out all these different, you know, other websites that are related to this particular word that you weren't necessarily, it wasn't necessarily like a rude word or anything, but the internet is just a big, I mean, it's a big minefield of dangers. And so, as I say, all of our computers and things are in communal areas, and are sort of, what we say to the children is, if you are watching something or listening to something that the younger children can't see, like in passing, for example, if they were passing, you know, by you, and then you'd have to like change the channel or switch it off or change the page, then it's something that you shouldn't be watching at all. Because I think, I mean, my son is only 13, and I know 13-year-old is a teenager, and, you know, he does have some autonomy to some degree, but we also do have a lot of security on the computers. So if there's, most of the websites that they go to are pre-approved, and if there is a website that they do want to go to, they have to request it. There's like a system that my husband's put in where they have to request whether they can check out that website or not, and if it's a good enough website, if it's appropriate for their age according to what we feel is appropriate, then they will get the permission to use that from that point onwards. My daughter, on the other hand, she is 15 and she has got some leeway. She has got a computer in her room. And I think that the thinking behind that was, as you get older, you do get more responsibility in terms of being autonomous with your decisions, trying to make the right decisions about sort of what is right, what is wrong, what is good to watch on YouTube, what is good to watch on the internet. And so she has a lot more leeway, because we haven't found yet that she has being irresponsible with things that she's watched or looked at on the internet. We found that she hasn't been sort of, you know, hiding anything or watching anything inappropriate that we disapprove of. And so she will get that that freedom of using her computer in her room until such time that something does happen. You know, if she's very good and she's responsible and she uses the internet wisely, then by all means she can have that computer and access to that computer in her room for the rest of her teenage life. So I think that's how we've managed that. Some obviously other people have different ways of managing their children's internet use. As my husband is a software engineer, he does know a lot about sort of these internet security type things in terms of what children are accessing. Also all of the history. Now and again, you know, we say to Tylee, look, now and again, you know, my dad, you know, your dad will check your history, and you know, if you've deleted your history, then obviously you're trying to hide something. But she's been very good. She hasn't deleted any of her history. And she's quite responsible. And so that's why she has it in her room. My son, when he gets to that age, if we find that he has sort of the same the same sort of responsible attitude towards what he watches and plays on the internet, then he too will sort of get a computer in his room. We'll see. So that's how we've decided to do that. In terms of children watching movies, playing video games, the children do play video games and they do watch movies, Disney Plus, Netflix, YouTube, that sort of thing. Again, on Netflix and on Disney Plus, you can have your own channels and you can filter sort of children movies as opposed to adult movies, what have you. So there's a filter on that. And in terms of their watching times, they normally have Tuesday and Thursday, 2 hours on a Tuesday, 2 hours on a Thursday, and 2 hours on a Saturday. So 3 times a week, 2 hours each. And normally the older children, my son, he probably won't watch a movie. He'd be playing video games with his friends online. And then he also uses the app, the website Discord, where he talks to, I think it's like a gaming chat group where he talks to his friends that he plays with online. And these are groups that you can accept. So people can, it's a group basically, and the group that he belongs to, the people that are in there are friends of his, of whom we know. So there's no sort of strangers or people that we don't know personally on that group. And so I think that's another way to safeguard the children. And then the younger children normally watch like a Disney movie together or something on Netflix. So they quite like, so the younger ones like the Ninjago cartoons, and then, you know, sort of the Disney movies, and then maybe the younger ones will have Coco Melon or something like that, or Paw Patrol. They love Paw Patrol. And so that's what they do for their sort of, we call it tech time or device time. So that's what they have 3 times a week. That's not to say that sometimes, you know, on a Sunday, family movies are on a Sunday. So we either do a board game, which can take a couple of hours, or a family movie, which is kind of hard now actually to do a family movie because the age range of the children is so vast. We've got 18, well, let's say Ava doesn't really count because she doesn't really have an opinion at this stage. So Xander, who's 3, and then I've got Talia, who's 15. So trying to find a movie that everybody kind of likes is quite hard. Although recently we did watch The Karate Kid with Will Smith's son, Jaden. So it's quite, I think it's quite old now, probably about 8 years old or something, but it's still a really good quality movie. What else did we watch? Can't think of any other, like Home Alone, various other things. We also quite like to watch Saints movies. You know, if children are interested in adventure and, you know, miracles and, you know, all sorts of, you know, adventurous going-ons, you know, Saints movies are amazing, and they're also true stories, and they're also there's also lessons to be learnt. It's also a chance for them to learn a bit more about their religion and about the particular saints. That's always quite good. And then so that's that. What else did I want to talk about? I have made a little list actually. Oh, and then so yes, yesterday we did go to the Christmas fairs, and as I say, we've only been in the country, as in the countryside of England, for about a year, and we've not been to any Christmas fairs before. So there were actually quite a few on yesterday, which was Saturday, and we went to one, and it was, I mean, to be fair, we're used to, you know, Christmas fairs in London, so like Greenwich Market, for example, or Portobello Road, or those kind of markets, like you think, you know, hustle and bustle, lots of different stalls, lots of different food stalls and arts and crafts and everything else. So anyway, this isn't obviously London, it's a small village town. So the fair, I didn't take any footage because it was quite small, and I just didn't feel like, you know, people might not have wanted me to video. Anyway, I didn't take any footage, but there were some lovely stalls. Santa Claus was in the corner. There were some lovely Christmas stalls and cake stalls, that sort of thing. We didn't buy anything from the first Christmas fair, but then we went to a second one, which is closer to us, and we bought some lovely artisan food. And when I say artisan food, it was lovely, but it was very expensive. So 3 sausage rolls were £10. Now, to be fair, they were bigger than normal. So I would say they were sort of, you know, well, that big. So compared to, say, for example, a Greggs sausage roll, which I don't know how much Greggs sausage rolls are, a pound, they were probably double the size, and it was really, really meaty. Like there wasn't any fat, any gristle. It was really meaty, and the pastry looked quite flaky. So, I mean, it was £3 for, it was 3 for £10, which I think is quite expensive. So obviously all the children, I only bought 5 children with me. So every child wanted one of those. And then they had like a cake stall, and they had something called a cookie pie. And so basically they're cut like wedges of pie, but the pie pastry equivalent, the top pastry, the bottom pastry, and the side pastry was actually cookie, and then the filling was like a creamy textured something, and it had like either whatever the flavor was. So if it was like a cookies and cream, then the creamy bit would have cookies in it. If it was a millionaire shortbread, then it would have caramel and chocolate in it, and that was really, really nice. And the wedges were quite big, I would say, sort of this kind of wedge, and again they were 3 for £10, so we got a couple of those. Well, 3 of those. And then the younger children just got, you know, they have these plastic cones where you have all different kinds of sweets, and they were only £1 each. So I was relieved because that was really cheap. So they got one of those each, and then we called it a day, and we went home, and I think we had an early dinner, and then I did some sewing last night, and that was it. So that was what we did on the Saturday. Today, as I said, it was just morning mass for us, which is really lovely. So where we've moved from London, so we are now in sort of Norfolk, Cambridgeshire, the 3 local parishes to us, Catholic local parishes, are quite small. And to be fair, the congregation is quite old. So it's a lot of old people. And I think for all the 3 parishes that are near us, there's probably like 6 or 7 children per parish, which is kind of sad, because you think, well, you know, if there aren't any children coming to mass, who's going to be the future congregation of these parishes? Because the majority of the people that go are elderly. So who's going to replace these elderly people when they move on? So anyhow, the parish that we go to is full, it's bustling. I would say on a Sunday morning, there's probably about 150, 160 people. Of that, children are probably about 70 to 80 children, ranging from newborn all the way up to about 15, 16. So it's a thriving parish, you know, loads of families, loads of children, elderly people as well. And with regards to the families, I think the largest family at that parish is a lovely family that have 9 children. They have 1 boy and 8 girls. And the next largest is myself with 8 children. And then on average, most of the families have about 4 or 5 children. So it's basically a large sort of Catholic parish where people are having lots of children and all the children are coming to church, which is amazing. So that's what we did this morning. This afternoon, I am just, it's lazy. So Sundays are normally lazy afternoon. I think the children at the moment are playing a board game with my husband. I'm going to go and join them in a bit and then have a little bit of sewing later on this evening after dinner. And then the other thing I wanted to mention, oh, yesterday I was talking about food and, you know, where we shop, Tesco and Lidl. And I was going to say that, our costs for food. So I did have a look online to see how much the average food shop is for a family of 4. And according to Net Mums, I mean, I know they're obviously not like, you know, the bar to stand by, but I mean, it's still, you know, an appropriate resource of information. So according to Net Mums, a family of 4 on average will spend £400 or £100 a week for a family of 4 on average. So about £80 to £100 for a family of 4. So we spend about £1,000, and so we're a family of 10. So I think that actually works really well. I think, you know, we're actually on average, we spend an average shop for our family, which I think is really great. Also, we don't, you know, we don't buy extravagant things. Like, we will have steak now and again, but not you know, not all the time, obviously. And we don't buy branded goods as such. So the only branded things that we do buy are, for example, as I say, sausages. We always try to go for good quality sausages. The only branded thing we go for is our detergent. So I use Fairy Non-Bio because I have used others in the past, and they tend to give my husband, he tends to get itchy, like an eczema rash type thing. And when I go back to Fairy Non-Bio, it disappears. So we have to stick to Fairy Non-Bio for my husband's sake. In terms of nappies, you know, literally I will use Lidl nappies or Tesco branded nappies. I have never actually used Pampers. The only time I use Pampers is for newborn Pampers, because back then I don't think many shops actually did newborn sizes. They did like 1 month plus, but they never did newborn sizes. Now Lidl and Tesco's are doing newborn sizes, so I go with them instead. In terms of baby wipes, I do buy branded. I buy Huggies baby wipes because I did used to use the Lidl branded baby wipes, but then they changed their formula or their manufacturer probably about a couple of years ago, and the new Lidl baby wipes just gave my daughter a rash, and so I've stuck to Huggies since then. What else do we do? And then everything else we kind of buy sort of, you know, the branded, the own branded products. And like I said with Tesco, it's quite good to where you shop online, you can compare brands and compare prices. So for example, we would normally buy frozen chicken breasts because they are cheaper, and also because I buy in bulk, I normally go home and freeze it anyway. So for me, frozen, it doesn't really matter, you know, whether it's fresh or frozen, because I would normally freeze it anyway. But online, if you compare all the chicken breasts, sometimes the fresh chicken breast is actually cheaper than the frozen chicken breast. And so I would not have noticed that. I would have just assumed that the frozen one would have been cheaper. So sometimes when the fresh chicken breast is cheaper, then I will buy the fresh chicken breast. So anywho, what else? And yes, Lidl. So we do shop in Lidl quite a lot. And there's a funny story actually. When we first moved to the country, we were saying how in London people don't normally, the cashiers and the people that work in the shops don't normally make conversation, maybe because it's too busy, or maybe it's just the culture in London where people kind of keep to themselves. But in the country, people do make an effort to speak to you. So when we first went to Lidl, the first week that we arrived, I went with 3 of the boys, I think. And the lovely lady at the till was talking to us, and we said, oh, we just moved, blah, blah, blah. And she was really, really nice. So anyhow, the next week that we went to Lidl, I had 3 girls with me, and she remembered me, and she was like, oh, wow, you have 3 girls as well. How lovely. So when we get home, I tell my husband, oh, the lady at Lidl recognized me. And she said, oh, wow, you have 3 girls now as well. And then my husband, as a joke, he said, next time you should go and bring a totally different combination of children and really freak her out. And I just thought that was really funny. So anyway, that was that story. What else was I saying? Oh, with regards to home education being expensive, it is expensive, as I say, but there are, as with everything, there are pros and cons to everything. So with regards to holidays, for example, as home educators, we get lovely discounts actually. So for example, we went to Legoland in September. We only paid for the whole family, so that's 10 of us. We only paid £115, I think, for the day. Like, we didn't stay over. We paid £115 for the day. And normally the normal prices, and that's because we went during term time, so we went like the first week of September, and it was really busy actually. So either all those children are homeschooled or they've taken time off school because it was actually quite busy. And I can only assume that during holiday time it'd probably be double that, to be fair. But yeah, so we get a huge discount on sort of theme parks and things, because I suppose these are low season for them. So if they give discounts to homeschoolers, you know, better than having nobody turn up at these theme parks because everybody's at school. So Legoland is an example. So £110 compared to it'd probably be about £250 at full price for us to go, maybe even more. And so that's nice for the children. We try to go every year, and we've got that discount every year. And basically there's a lady, you just have to phone them up and they just do a home ed discount rate. And there's one of the lovely ladies that go to our parish that organises it, and everybody sort of goes there together. But we don't stick together. You know, if we bump into each other in the theme park, then we say hello and things. But I think it's quite difficult with lots of families to stick together, because then you can't kind of go off and do your own thing. You have to kind of, and there's a lot of time wasted sort of trying to stick together. Anyhow, the other thing as well, Woburn Safari Park, again, home ed discount. I think it's only about £80 for us to go. Normally it'd be double that, like 160, 170 pounds for us to go. Likewise, Centre Parks, we used to go every year. We went to the Elvedon Forest branch, and again, it's September, so first or second week of September, when all the children are back to school. That's when their lowest prices are. And for a family, so at the time we only had 7 children. For a family of 7, 8, 9, for a family of 9, it was £600 for the villa. So it's the log cabin villas that we go to, that we hire out. And the exact same holiday for the exact same apartment for the exact same amount of time during holiday time is about £1,600, so more than triple the price. So in that sense, we do save money in that sense, which is quite nice. The other thing I was going to talk about was, I don't know what that is. Oh, so today I also I also wore, so I've made a coat for Jenny Stitch's fabric. So I blog for her, and it's basically the heather blazer, which I've extended and turned into a long line coat. It's actually here, but I'm not going to show you fully yet, because that is a blog post for Jenny, and that will be released in January sometime. Anyhow, I'm loving this coat. It's lovely. It's got a funky coloured lining. I spent a lot of time on it, and also it has a back vent, which I self-drafted myself. So anyway, I'm looking down at my sleeves, and I've noticed this sleeve is perfect, and this sleeve is kind of twisted. And what I've realised is, I think I cut out 2 left sleeves, which is really annoying, because I mean, obviously it's all done now. It's, you know, it's sewn on, the lining's sewn on, centre back seam is all sewn together. So I have to really, and I was thinking, look, I'm just going to leave it, it's fine. But it's actually really obvious, because the seam, it's a 2-piece sleeve. So you get sort of one seam here and another seam here. And they're supposed to sort of connect it into the arms, like underneath your armpit area. But this particular one, it kind of connects here. So you can see the whole line across my arm. So when I'm standing in front of the mirror, for example, this one, you can't see any of the seams. But this one, you could see the seam all the way down here, and it does look really odd. So I am, because it was quite an expensive make, I mean, I get it for free because I did it as a blogger project for Jenny, but because of the fabric and because it's a lovely coat and I love wearing it, I am actually going to unpick that. So I'm going to open the centre back, unpick the sleeve, and I'm thinking maybe I might be able to, oh, there's a lot of work actually, because even the lining at the hem is all done, but maybe I might be able to take the two sleeves apart, as in at the seams, turn it the other way round, and would that would be the opposite. So hopefully that would be the right way. I don't know if that works, so I'm going to give that a go, but that will be, I find things like that, like alterations or having to fix something, takes longer than actually making a proper garment from scratch. So that's going to be one of my projects that I probably procrastinate about for a while, but hopefully I will get that done, because it's a lovely winter, like a smart winter coat, which I wear for Sundays, or I will wear for Sundays. So that's something I have to do. Also with Jenny, part of our deal with Jenny Stitches, which is really, really lovely, is that she obviously provides all the fabric and the patterns and the notions for a project every month. And when we submit that project, she then gives us a £30 voucher to spend in her store, which is really, really lovely, because I know most most sort of blogger relationships with shops, and they get everything for free, all the materials for free, in exchange for a blog post or a vlog post. But with Jenny, she goes a step further, and she actually gives us a £30 voucher, as I say. And for her, she said it's in recognition for the time and the effort that we've spent making that up, which I think is really, really lovely. So I basically got £30 to spend at Jenny Stitches, and I'm just thinking about what to buy. I have my eye on a fabric godmother print at their store, at her store, and also I need to get some fray thing. Let me show you. Fray check, that's what it's called, Prim Fray check. I was hoping to get one of these in my advent calendar, but I really need it. It's actually fully empty, so I really need one of these, and maybe some various bits and pieces. I also get my patterns printed with Jenny Stitches. She does them on paper, but I just always go with her for that. So I'm looking forward to spending that money. And I think that's it really. How much time is it? 35 minutes. So that's it, I think, for today. Tomorrow I will hopefully, I think I've kind of run out of things to talk about, and it's only day 5 or day 4. 1, 2, 3, day 5. I was thinking maybe if it was of interest to anybody, talking about sort of my short-lived law career, sort of, you know, how I got into law school, sort of practice, because I practiced as a criminal defence solicitor, and I find it quite fascinating. So I was doing trials in the magistrates' courts, assisting with bigger cases in the High Court and the Crown Courts. So that was very interesting for me. I loved it at the time, and I loved my time practicing as a solicitor. But everything changes, and you know, priorities change, and I soon left that career. But yeah, maybe I could talk about a little bit about that tomorrow, if that is of any interest. And hopefully I'll come up with other things to talk about in the meantime. But thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again tomorrow, which will be Tuesday. Thank you. Bye-bye.